Here we are now just trying to regroup all together. We have the enemy dagger popping ult on the point here. Once again, there goes another strange ult. I will say kind of an unorthodox approach with the enemy dagger popping ult first. Of course, we don't have that many crazy offensive ults. We're actually running triple support here, so really don't have to worry about them no more. So I will say that the enemy using their dagger ult early is not too bad, but as I say it, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Nothing super crazy just happened on screen, but if you looked at the kill feed, Namor just got a 4-piece. So maybe I was wrong right there. Dagger on the enemy team absolutely just sold in that situation right there. It's something I see way too often in this game. Because let me just put it like this. In this game, there are, at least the way that I think of this game, is there are a multitude of switches that can be flipped at any time. Okay? So just stay with me. If one team flips a switch, and that switch is offensive ult, the defense has to respond by flipping a switch that is defensive ult. So what happens is that if the offense flips that switch and the defense does not flip their switch back, the offense will kill everybody. On the flip side, if the defense flips their switch, let's just say that's a defensive ult, a Luna ult, a dagger ult, whatever. Now, the offense should be fiending because they said, wow, the defense just burned a Luna ult or dagger ult for no reason. And I still have Punisher ult, Bucky ult, Star-Lord ult. I have Namor ult or Moon Knight ult with Groot. I have all these things. And when I use it, it is guaranteed to get value. So it doesn't matter what level you are at. If you're someone who's like bronze, silver, gold, and you're not quite there yet, you don't really understand the characters too well or why somebody would or wouldn't use their ult at a certain time, then sure, that's fine. But if you're reaching diamond, GM, celestial even, and you are doing double support ults by accident and you're not communicating, non-negotiable, that should never ever happen at celestial level. Even GM, I'll even say at diamond, that should never happen. An accidental double support ult should never happen. But even worse than that, if you are like, you know what, nothing's happening, I'm gonna take control of the game and just pop my support ult, you just trolled. You trolled so bad. Because what should be happening is, as a team, you have to pinpoint who the weakest person is on the enemy team. This does not mean the worst player on the enemy team. It means the character that you guys can focus and kill without using your ult. If you can do that and get the man advantage, now the other team has to try and play off of their back foot and say, okay, if we don't do something, we are all going to get rolled. And sometimes this is where they can make mistakes. Let's say you get one pick and then you start to push aggressively. If they have a support ult, they could hold on to it and say, okay, we've lost this fight, and more people die and then they reset and they try and fight with their support ult next time. Or what can also happen is they pop the support ult right away and that's how you force it out, but it's too late because one person dies. So now they have a 6v5, the support ult is being used, you killed somebody without using your offensive ult, and now once the support ult ends, Bucky starts going crazy or whatever it is. Or worst case scenario, which happens way too much, and in my opinion, this is the #1 way to never ever climb in this game, is wait until 1 or 2 or 3 people die on your team and then say, well, looks like it's just you and me, time to start dancing. And then you use your Luna ult and there's 3 people alive. You, 1 DPS, 1 tank, or you, another healer, and 1 DPS. That is a waste, and that will always be a waste. However, the way that the game is designed, everybody has a voice line when they are about to use their ult. So if you know what the voice lines mean, and if you know what it means for you as a character, then you can decide, oh, okay, you hear armed and dangerous and you're playing Luna, as it is happening, you ult. Not before, like, oh, he has his ult. He might ult soon, so I'm gonna try and beat him to the punch. The game is not designed in such a fast fashion that if you don't ult frame perfect, you're gonna die. The game is not like that. Eye of Agamotto, you have time. Punisher ult, you have time. Star-Lord ult, you have time. Bucky ult, you always have time, and the game is beautifully designed in that way so that when the offense or an offensive ult pops, you always have the time to react, to say, I either have to move, I have to bubble, I have to jump or dash or use my ult. I have time to do something. So then what happens with the game is it turns into a puzzle game. If you're really paying attention, you can say, okay, Loki just put his his clones up on height, and then we just dove and he used his pools. Now look, he does not have clones close to him and he does not have pools. Now we can ult and it's going to force out one of their ults. If they don't force out the ult, or if they don't use their ult, then they're going to die. This is something that has to be known, whether you're at Diamond, GM, Celestial, and beyond. You see at the highest level of play, and you see on the channel all the time, you see players at One Above All or Eternity. As one ult happens, let's say an offensive ult, the defensive ult always happens. It's forcing their hand. You don't have a choice. It's like if you don't ult, you just let your whole team die. But what happens at the higher level, they always do it correctly. And it's a massive, massive mistake. And I say it all the time. At Eternity or One Above All, at the highest level of play, it's one of the biggest, most brain dead, bonehead mistakes you could ever make to double support ult for one offensive ult. Because once Armed and Dangerous doesn't kill everybody, the moon absolutely is going to haunt your entire team and now you're dead. Or Groot into Moon Knight or whoever it is. So if you're watching this as a healer, or if you're thinking about picking up a secondary or a support character because you can't play DPS every single time and you don't know what to do, it's like, I just picked Luna. I wanted to make sure we have healers on the team because everybody insta-locked, Psylocke, Spider-Man, Punisher, Panther, whatever. I'm going to play Luna or Invis or whatever. Hopefully I don't mess this up. Just listen. Turn your audio on, and when the other team does their ult, you ult. The enemy team, they messed up at the end. They absolutely did. When the dagger popped ult first, and then the Namor got a 4-piece, that is not real. That should not have happened, especially at Diamond, and of course beyond. Unless you know your team is pushing back and someone low, then you ult. Yeah, if you can save a player, let's say if they force your hand, like I mentioned, if they flip a switch and you don't, then that's different, right? Or if they, let's say, take an initial pick and they kill one player on the team and then everybody's backing up, or someone's about to die. Let's say someone's almost dead and you want to try and keep everybody alive so you can keep on fighting, then sure. But in that situation, let's say Luna pops ult to keep everybody alive. The smart play there is to now, you have to force their hand, because it's like, okay, you guys got us, okay? You made us use our Luna ult. We had to do it because one of our teammates is going to die. But don't think you're gonna get away with it. So what we're gonna do now is use our Star-Lord ult or our Punisher ult, because we have Luna who can keep our Punisher or our Star-Lord alive, and now has a chance to now try and kill their whole team, and now you're forcing their hand right back. So instead of losing one ult, then they use one ult and kill your whole team, you use your defensive ult and then your offensive ult and say, hey, you forced our hand, we're forcing your hand. So if you don't use a defensive ult, now we're going 1 for 1. We got to go band for band with these defensive ults. Otherwise, if you use your Luna ult to keep everybody alive, they say, okay, cool. Armed and Dangerous, you're all dead. So before that happens, try and kill the Bucky with your Star-Lord or Namor, Spider-Man, whoever it is, so that they don't have the opportunity to just run rampant in the streets because they forced your ult with good team play. Don't get me wrong, it's a good play. If they do it, it's a good play. They did exactly what they had to do. You responded the way you had to respond, but now you have to try and force something out of them because, like I said, after those 12 seconds are up with Luna, you're getting rolled. And if, let's say, Bucky or someone's already in their ult, and then you start your Punisher ult, he's gonna die and lose his ult. And that is catastrophic.